This week on Zen and not Zen, BroTime, BroTime, BroTime.
But, I believe every stripper cleaned the pole before they, did their shimmy-shammy or whatever.
Yeah, I remember that. They have a towel.
Like, they come out and they're like, and this is sapphire. It's always a semi-precious gem.
Yeah.
Does she clean the pole all sexy like, you know?
Well,
Is that
no,
part
but
of
they
the
usually
thing?
just kind of start and then they literally
It was like
clean...
during their intro.
Yeah,
I know what you mean. Yeah,
literally
it's like a little
walked out
rag.
and cleaned the pole.
Yeah.
All right.
I think they more dry it, so they can get a good grip
I would
versus
imagine you need a good grip.
sanitizing cleaning it.
Yeah, okay.
So I'm sure
All
they
right.
do little wipies before their dance, so the other sweaty
oils
prints, oils,
and stuff.
and
Oh,
lotions.
didn't think about that
All right,
shit.
all
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
Didn't think about that shit because,
Because the last thing you need is
They do that. Have you ever chick does the drop?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the
Fuck.
last thing you need is to go
Holy
up, be at the
shit.
top of the pole, and then just hit a big gob of Victoria's Secret Dream Girls lotion, and you're
Love
like,
spell.
God damn
It's always
it.
love spell.
Yeah, I always love spell. Fucking love that shit.
Oh, my...
Bro time.
Time.
Fucking kids.
Yeah, I love that baby smell, man. I love that new baby
At
smell.
Fontanelle.
Love it. It's one of my favorite
Fontanelle.
things. As I was just telling Robin, I just got back off the road from
This motherfucker just came back from Richland.
Richland.
Today?
yeah,
Spoiler
like half
alert.
an hour ago.
Holy shit. What time did you leave?
Probably 7:30 this morning.
Fucking
God.
hero.
Got some
Hero.
coffee.
Yep.
Smoked a bowl.
Just booked it.
put on a good podcast and just kind of rode
Well,
and
what?
listened.
Here to Richland's 2 hours?
3.5.
Oh, fuck me. It's that long.
Yeah,
Yeah.
3.5 hours. And but it was good. I listened to a podcast with Questlove and Jack White, and listened to Jack White talk about Jack
Have
White
you
type
listened
shit.
to the Jennifer
Yakimos.
Lewis episode of Questlove's podcast?
Jennifer Lawrence? No, I don't think
Jennifer
so.
Lewis.
Lewis, no.
She's the black mother of Hollywood basically,
Okay.
and she is all about she is right up your fucking alley, all about like positivity, manifestation, but she does it in such a sassy black auntie way.
Okay, I know you're talking about, but no, I haven't
And
seen that
it
one.
is one of the most beautiful episodes, and it had me in fucking stitches. I almost had to pull the car over. It's she is so funny. But that is one of my favorite episodes of the Questlove Supreme podcast. Is the Jennifer Lewis
It's a great
episode.
podcast. I don't know if you've ever listened to it, but being a music
3.5
nerd.
hours. I'm still on that.
yeah.
I'm just like, all right, let her finish talking
I
about
mean,
that.
I was up at 7:30 this morning dropping Mandy at work.
Fuck, man.
Right.
3.5 hours.
But it's it's all good, It's like
Just straight shot.
It's but it's supporting Harper.
Oh, of course.
You know,
No,
and
I mean, I'm not,
But it's
how dare you go see
No,
your
no,
daughter.
no.
Yeah.
But okay, so when I think about stuff like this, so when I was drinking a lot still, or drinking a lot, period, I wasn't the best at, right? I wasn't there that present. I used to think that's very far away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so with Peyton, my oldest daughter, I wasn't as present as I would like to have been. I went to a couple recitals, violin stuff, and things that she did, but I didn't make enough of an effort, in my opinion.
Takes balls to own that,
Right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
now I look at that and I'm like, dude, it's you have
It could
you
be
have
states.
the time. I've created this new life so I could create time to do stuff like that.
Yeah.
Right? And so if I'm not doing it, then why did I create all this time?
And it's
Yeah.
perspective too, because it used to take me fucking 3 hours to commute from Everett to Ballard.
Right, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
100%.
it
You
would.
did that?
I would leave
You
work.
fucking did that?
Yeah, so it
God,
was when was it? It was after Red Hook, and I got hired at Trupanion, the pet insurance place, and I was still living in Everett, and it was in Ballard, and I had the 6 a.m. shift. So I would get off. I worked 6 to 3 in Ballard, and then going there was just as bad because Boeing traffic starts at 5. So if I was not on the road by 5 a.m., I was an hour late.
It's funny how 5 minutes can make such a difference.
Make
in
or
that
break, yeah. So I would show up at 6, I'd get off at 3, and it would literally take me almost 2.5 hours.
Yeah,
in a
'cause so-
stick
Oh my
shift
God.
Ford Focus. Just
The white Ford Focus. Was that the white Ford Focus? You
Yeah.
had
I remember that
fucking
being-
car,
My
yeah.
left
God,
calf
we've known
was
each other.
just bussing. It was huge. Just that one calf
It's
on
been
that
fortunate
clutch.
I've known you assholes that long.
I
That
know.
fucking
My
white
white Ford Focus.
Oh,
So when I think of oh God, that's such a long drive, I always think of It's just relative.
Going nowhere
it's
fast.
Going
nowhere. And that's
yeah.
when I left here to go up to Anacortes last Friday. It was like, fuck, just getting on. Once I got on 5 North, it was okay because I was beating some of that Everett traffic, but just getting up there from here was
that Lake Stevens area, like everyone trying to get on the fucking bridge, like it's a nightmare.
So me, the lady, and I kind of got in I won't call it an argument, but a spirited conversation about what we were doing with our days off because she wanted to literally do a 4-hour drive to go to a hike to go see some blooming flowers over literally
Paradise.
In fucking
because I was literally looking that up
Winthrop, like fucking in between Mazama and Twisp. Okay, so that's like 4 hours.
You're saying a lot of words I don't know.
I love I love Winthrop.
It's cool, but I haven't been out there in like 30 fucking years.
Great.
You know, for good reason. Well, now, so I'm just like, I really don't want to do that to do a moderately easy hike just because I'm going to be fucking wiped. That's 4 hours each way.
Yeah.
You know, we ended up doing Granite Falls and passing through Lake Stevens yesterday and did Heather Lake and whatnot.
That's a good one.
Yeah, Heather Lake.
I've known the Heather Lake, but I've been up to the Granite Falls area. I'm not sure which one we've done.
One I really want to do is the Paradise one at Rainier, but that one's like a 5-hour drive to get to Paradise.
And she's down with that shit, and I'm like totally not. And she's like, I'll do it by myself. I'm like, cool. Well, like, there's like totally like shitty movies that end very poorly for women like you.
Just give her an Apple AirTag
maybe I'll go with her.
Well, no, but see, so that's the thing. Real
I'll
talk. I'll
go with her. I want someone to go. I don't think Mandy's into it either.
So that was real talk. Was was now she's actually getting one of those whatever the fuck communicator satellite things just because it's like she was doing WTA work and she actually broke her fucking knee or like
shit happens.
Granted, she was there with a group of people and it worked out and shit, but it's just like, okay, if you're serious about doing this shit, I have a vested interest in like at least having a way for you to be like.
And there's not always cell service either.
No, not at all. Where the fuck we were, there wasn't. It's just like, cool, if one of us gets fucked up on that trail, which it was very easy to do, and I totally did. You know, old man, 39-year-old, will be feeling this for like a week and a half shit.
The flowers are beautiful.
Yeah. Go to lean over to smell a flower, like, oh, fuck it. Damn it.
Somebody
call somebody.
Rickety cricket.
Rickety cricket.
But yeah, no, those sat phones are like $5-6.
Yeah.
But they're worth it if they say.
Well, that's the thing is like if you need it to do what it needs to do, then it's
money well
doesn't
spent.
matter. I would throw a lot more money at a situation if I break my leg 4.5 miles away from my car.
I just dropped $5. It costs $5 to take my dog to the vet to get shots. You know what I mean?
I don't even think about that shit. Like I don't have pets, and I love dogs.
Just upkeep.
Just fucking
it's $600.
Just to kick the tires on those fucking things. $5-6, huh?
Exactly. Yeah. Well, and when I took Jeff in for his ear infection, it was $350 for an ear infection.
Fuck.
Damn. And it wasn't even his worst one. It was one medication.
I gotta imagine that's like a bigger ear, like there's more.
Well, he's had really gnarly ones before. He's had to have like 2 or 3 different kinds of drops, and this one was only one. So this was like a cheap. I've spent like $700 on an ear infection for him before.
So fucked.
Yeah.
When Peyton was, probably 6, because Harper was just born. She's old enough to run around, but not super old yet. Maybe she wasn't born yet. Maybe Peyton was like 5. Somewhere between 5 and 6. Anyways, I was working at the theater at the time in Redmond. And just to piggyback on the cost of the sat phone, right? I was working at the theater in Redmond. It was around 4th of July. And Sydney and I guess it was, both kids were born. So Sydney and the kids were in Idaho with her dad and her family. And they go camping every year. And so all the family got together, they went camping, and all the kids were playing hide and seek. And they were playing hide and seek, dusk. Hey, everybody come back, dinner time. All the kids came back. They were eating dinner, and they're like, hey, where's Peyton at? Like, I don't know, where's Peyton at? Peyton was lost in the woods.
Oh, my God.
For probably 7 hours.
And she's like 5?
And she's like 5.
Jeez.
Right? And so at the time, so Sydney calls me. And explains to me, and I'm working. Yeah. It was 4th of July weekend at a fucking movie theater. It's like
you can't fucking leave.
And it wouldn't done any good. I wouldn't be able to help.
Right.
There's in the fucking middle of the woods in Idaho.
Yeah.
Right. By the time I got there, something would have happened by then. Right.
Yeah.
And so I'm just like in the office, like fucking, I'm bawling. I'm crying. Like I have no idea what to do. I don't know how to manage my emotions at all at that point in time. And
but
so So Peyton's obviously alive, so we found her.
Right, yeah.
So the benefit of Sydney's family is that her dad was a state trooper for a number of years, like 20 plus years, and left the state troopers because they were corrupt and was like, I can't help it, so I'm just leaving because this is bullshit. I can't contribute. But he still has connections, so he like literally called out like horses and the fucking helicopters and all this shit, right? And so 7 hours later, they find her walking along a road. And holding her shoes because when she stopped to pee, she couldn't really see what she was doing, so she accidentally peed on herself. Yeah. So she was just carrying her shoes, and I think she was crying a little bit because obviously she's fucking scared.
Yeah, it's a rough day.
But they found her.
How many hours was she out there?
7 hours.
Did she remember any of this?
Oh yeah, very very much so. And she said that when they found her, they're like, "What? How did you stay calm?" And she was like, "I just followed the moon. You know, so like having that kind of communication out there in those times, and like you never know when you need it.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like $500. Yeah, that's a lot of money.
Strap
but
it
like,
on your little backpack or something.
Yeah, you know, it's good to have that shit. You know, especially we're encouring more outdoor work.
What a smart
and our
kid,
kids
though.
aren't really set up like we used to be. Like
No,
my mom didn't give a fuck,
outdoors,
man. She was like, get out. I don't want to fucking see you, you until like call you.
Right. Now, and because of these smartphones and shit, like we become in many ways. I know I'm fucking stupider because I can just rely on that to do all this.
Oh
shit.
yeah, 100%, dude.
So it's like
People can't get around town without.
I mean,
I'm really bad about that.
Yeah,
it's terrible for me.
Oh yeah. For a guy who fucking I'm sure you probably couldn't even. You probably couldn't tell me to get to that Fred Meyer down that street, could you? Yeah, he's like, dude.
I'm not bad with my neighborhood, but like, and I'm getting better because I'm trying to challenge myself by not using it because I know like if it's a new place and whatever, I'm gonna rely.
Yeah, you're on vacation.
It uses like E equals MC squared. Like it's smarter than I am. I got it right.
Yeah.
But if it's a place that I'm readily going to that I'm still using GPS for, I'm like, dude, come on.
Yeah. You know where it's at. You know where B1 Yoga is at.
Right.
That's one turn.
Still punching that shit in.
Yeah, fucking hell.
Just want to make sure you don't miss
it. Saved routes.
Yeah.
You're like saved routes. If you're saving fucking routes.
So not to I want to touch on this, but how are you after Jeff's been left this world?
It was a hard day. I cried a lot.
Yeah.
But it was very beautiful, and he made us laugh like right up until the very end. Like, so he was completely. So the vet came in. We had his bed out, and the way the sun came in our apartment, it like had a spotlight just where he was laying. So he was like in the sun, and he like totally knew what was happening. He usually kind of gets up and tries to walk around, but he was totally like just laying there. And the vet comes in, and we're crying, and he goes out to pet Jeff, and he immediately yells at him and just goes, ah! And I goes like, I'm so sorry, I forgot to tell you, he does not like to be touched. He doesn't like to be touched by anybody. And he goes, okay, all right.
Fuck back.
Yeah, he was like, okay, we'll give him oral medication that should knock him out like 5 to 10 minutes. I was like, okay. And he goes like, why don't you give it to him? And I was like, great. So I give him the oral medication, and it's, been like 10 minutes, and he's real sleepy, and his head's heavy. And a little bit of part of me is like, oh, I can't wait till he's sedated because I can finally pet his ears, and his ears are so velvety soft. Like, I've just always wanted to just put my face right in his face. And so I go to pick up his face and put my face right next to him, and he wakes up out of his sedated sleep and goes, ah! And then like goes right back down, and we just all started laughing so hard. I was like, this motherfucker couldn't leave this world without getting one more in. So yeah, and then we had to like feed him McDonald's French fries while he was being touched and stuff because like he was getting angry.
Yeah.
And then once he was out, it was fine. And then I leading into it, like I was just like, everything's fine. Like on the podcast, I was like, it's fine, it's gonna be great. And then after he was gone, I was just like, oh, like I walked in the door from work like the day afterwards, and I was expecting him to be there, and he wasn't. And then I cried. And then I texted you about this. The first walk that we did, the night that he died, I took Chicken out, and it was like killing me that he wasn't on that last walk. And I go out, and she usually turns right, and for some reason she turned left when we walked out our building. And I'm just crying, thinking about Jeff and apologizing that he wasn't here. And then I look up, and I see a license plate, and the first 3 numbers are 333, which right after my grandmother passed, I looked up the clock, and it wasn't when she passed, but it was when the first time I looked at the clock was 333.
Right.
And so I knew it was just him being like, it's cool, man, I'm still here. So I had little moments where like I cry and I miss him, and ran into a sweet lady at the dog park who had like his little doppelganger, and I was just like, I'm sorry, my dog just died on Saturday. She's like, it's okay. So it's had like nice moments since then. I mean, I do miss him, but it was definitely the right thing to do, and it was his time. So I'm good though. But yeah. Yeah.
It's awesome he came out of sedation to tell you guys.
I know, just to tell me to fuck off. Like, he is just the funniest motherfucker. Like, don't touch me.
All I got left.
Yeah. And even the vet, he was like, I did the same thing. He's like, I had a dog in college that I put down who was really a spicy dude, and you couldn't touch him. He goes, the first thing I did when he was out was I just put my whole face on his neck. And I was like, yeah, it's exactly what I want to do.
Spicy dude.
He's a little spicy chorizo.
But I think, okay, so that's a perfect segue into just the life can be funny sometimes.
Yes.
Right? We can find like this humor in life, and like situational humor, like Seinfeld was developed around situational humor, the Larry David show, all that shit, right? Or Curb Your Enthusiasm. But like, it's just funny to notice life, right? And it's it's like I don't know. I've been thinking a lot about this because I don't know. I love thinking about weird shit, but. It's like the tree fell in the woods and nobody saw it or nobody heard it. Did it make a sound? It's kind of like if somebody trips and falls and they're fine, but nobody laughs. Like if nobody's around to laugh, it's like, but somebody's got to like bring some humor into that, right? Humor is like such a healing kind of thing. We're here to witness it
as well as experience it.
Right, I mean, isn't the rule like if you see a toddler fall, you're like not supposed to look at the motherfucker? So
you're not supposed to react in a negative way, like "Oh my god, are you okay?" Because then it's like, "Oh shit, I guess I should be scared."
Like, no, ignore it.
Yeah, but if you laugh when a toddler falls, and it's like, "Hey, look at me, I just fell on my ass," but then it might do it over and over and over again. It might actually cause damage. So like there's like lines to tote with that shit. But so what made
always
me
laugh at adults.
So many paperbacks you'd have to read.
But there was so what kind of brought me to like start thinking about this was a number of years ago. I was working at a yoga studio out in Snohomish, and I was driving back on Highway 2, and it was rainy and dark, and it was like traditional Seattle, like fucking September, right? And I was sitting at a stoplight. And it was just pouring down rain, and I look over, and it was one of those bikini barista stands, and it was dark.
You've told me
it was like 9:00 at night. Everybody shut down, and I see this young woman running out of the bikini barista stand, wearing stilettos, fishnet stockings, a thong, and carrying garbage, and I was like. Fucking, I guess they should. They have side work too. And I cried laughing. I was laughing that hard.
Like she's at work.
Exactly. Like I get no matter what you're wearing, I guess you still have to take the garbage out. And it
recycling out.
Tickled me so fucking much.
Yeah.
We need to check the maintenance schedule on that ice machine though. I bet you that motherfucker hasn't been hit in a while.
Like I had a friend that worked as a server, a cocktail server at Rick's back in the early 2000s. Yeah, wasn't a dancer. It just was like a soda server.
Most of them end up doing that.
Yeah, but
we had a couple employees that used to serve drinks at Rick's.
That's good money.
Totally. Yeah, it was. Yeah, they ended up coming over to Jillian's and working with us over there. But they told me that part of their side work was having to clean the stripper poles, and I'm like, that is got to be the nastiest side work I've ever heard in my life. And again, it's one of those things like you never think of a thing as being a thing, but. I guess hopefully somebody's cleaning those fuckers.
And I mean, admittedly, I'm trying to think of the last strip club I was in. I mean, I'm not a fan of them, and that sounds like some self-serving. Like, look at how.
I've only been to one.
No, I've been to a couple.
I don't necessarily believe you've only been to one.
I've only been to one. No, I went to my brother's bachelor party first time married.
I've been to at least 4. I've 2 in Vegas.
I would say a
couple in Arizona, and I did go to the Showgirls one down on Pike Place Market, but that bummed me out so bad that was my last one.
I would say I think it's been throughout the years. I'd say I've probably been to maybe a dozen. Maybe slightly less than that. Now that sounds like because I went to, in Amsterdam, you gotta go to one of those.
If I was in Amsterdam, I'd 100% go.
You gotta go to one of those in Amsterdam.
Yeah,
way different.
I mean, I go for the ambiance, It's just, it's
I go for the steak,
right? What were we talking about?
When was the last one you were in, or how many have you been in?
Oh, yeah, okay, so I believe the last time I was in, which was probably like 6-7 years ago, now that I don't drink, there's no fucking way. There's no fucking
Time
way.
means nothing.
But I believe every stripper cleaned the pole before they like did their shimmy shammy or whatever.
Yeah, I remember that they have a towel.
Like they come out and they're like, and this is sapphire. It's always a semi-precious gem.
Yeah.
Does she clean the pole all sexy like?
Well, no, but they usually just kind of start and then they literally.
It was like during their intro.
Yeah,
I know what you mean.
Like literally walked out and cleaned the pole.
Yeah.
All right.
I think they more dry it so they can get a good grip versus like sanitizing cleaning it.
Yeah, okay.
So I'm sure they do little wipies like before their dance, so like the other sweaty
oils
and lotions.
Oh, didn't think about that shit.
Didn't
think about that shit because
because the last thing you need is
to... Have you ever chick does the drop?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the last thing you need is like to go up, be at the top of the pole, and then just hit a big gob of like Victoria's Secret Dream Girls lotion, and you're like, God damn it!
It's always love spell.
Yeah, I always love spell. Fucking love that shit.
Oh my god. Okay, so along the lines of situational humor, I came up with a term that might help us all like fucking lean into it a little bit more, right? So there's birthing doulas, like we kind of talked about death doulas last week, right? We got birthing doulas, people that help babies come into the world. We have death doulas, people that help people transition or beings transition out of the world. Okay, so what I was thinking is a joke doula, right? You're birthing the situational humor by observing it into being funny.
Yes.
Right? So you're part of the actualization of that humor because somebody had to witness it.
Right.
Right? And so by witnessing that, it has now become funny, at least to you.
Right.
And then you could potentially turn that into a birthing of a joke towards somebody else. So like this whole joke doula idea.
It's a joy doula.
Joy doula. I love that.
Like the two guys on Dumb and Dumber that were extras in the movie with big gulps.
Yes.
They didn't know they were going to be in that movie.
Well, see you later.
That was all just like those guys were just standing there and Jim Carrey's like, okay.
Dude, I just saw something the other day about Napoleon Dynamite. And they were interviewing the director, and the guy was like, okay, so my favorite scene is when they're on the farm, and that old man is sitting there with his glass of milk, and he's like, over there in the stream bed, we found a couple arrowheads. And then Napoleon Dynamite takes a big gulp of milk, and then that's pretty much the scene. Uh-huh. And the guy's like, tell me, please, what the fuck was that scene about? And the director's like, okay, so actually we just had the cameras rolling, and that guy that owned the farm was like, oh, over there he was just sharing that they actually found some arrowheads in the stream bed over there. And they're like, okay,
he was just spreading his joy.
Cool. That's going in the movie now.
And you're in Napoleon Dynamite, sir. I will get you your residuals.
Just random shit.
Oh, unrelated to anything we're talking about.
Great.
Perfect.
I remember the Lesbian 101 episode.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yep.
So, did we touch on this? Because I found a new one that is a gem. We've talked about gold stars before.
Yeah.
Did we touch on a platinum star?
Please explain.
I don't think so.
This is the fucking this is raw.
Well, refresh my memory on a gold star first.
And again, I don't want to make this wrong, but a gold star is
someone who's never slept with a man, who identifies as a lesbian, who's never had sex with a man.
or a gay guy that's never slept with a female.
Gotcha. Okay.
So that's a gold star. A platinum star.
Prepping.
Is one of those people that was born cesarean, so they have never breached a vagina.
Yes.
Interesting.
I have forgotten about that. Yes. Have never experienced vagina.
So someone who is gay. So like a gay male.
Born cesarean.
Platinum star.
I love that you're taking notes.
So the funniest shit is, Tiffany's reading this, found out about this in a book. I lost my shit. She goes to work and is talking to one of her coworkers who's gay. And he's just like, I'm a platinum star.
Yes!
Oh my god, that's hilarious.
Situational comedy.
So good. Born cesarean.
Oh my god.
So you remember that?
What
deep in the cockles of the lesbian experience? You remember that shit?
Yes, I will. I just want to see how this pans out.
Yeah.
Oh, it's right here. It's right here on the floor. Yeah. Got you.
Cool.
Yeah, I got you. I got you back.
All right. Hey,
sweet.
Back.
Glad we
doused the fire.
All over those tax documents and important documents that we do over the podcast.
So, oddly enough, so I have something to say about that. Odd statistic. Okay, so there's been a bunch of studies recently about the reason, trying to figure out why health in the in the world has kind of been declining a little bit, especially in the States.
Well, in America,
right?
Let's be real.
And one of the theories is that we're offering, popularizing C-sections. And one of the best things we can do for our microbiome is what they're figuring out, or one of the hypothesis they're following right now, is that as we're birthed through the vaginal canal, there is microbiome in that canal that acts with our personal system, that helps boost our immune system, our endocrine system, our nervous system, like all these things that help us kind of finalize the last little bits and pieces, right? Okay, so that's one part of it. The other part of that is more of not a hypothetical, more of a spiritual look at it, right? And okay, so there's Joseph Campbell's hero's journey, right? And if you look at all the Harry Potter, Star Wars, all the books, movies, within the past,
Hero
at least,
with 1,000 faces.
Even looking back at the Mahabharata, the Bhagavad Gita, all these stories, the Bible, all this shit, right? They follow this thing called the hero's journey. Yeah. So if we look at the hero's journey in our own human lives, the very first victory we ever have is being birthed through the birth canal, because we think we're going to die, right? So we go from living in a belly in water, no light coming in, we hear a little bit of sound, everything's coming in and out of our belly, right? And then all of a sudden that water goes away, and we start hearing things in a different way. Now our eyes are starting to open. It's like, what the fuck is going on? We get flipped upside down, we get pushed through a hole. We're like, what the fuck is going on? I don't know what's going on. This is all my life I just,
look who's talking.
And then explains that,
and then you come through, Bruce and then Willis. You get hit, and it's like, what the fuck? Right, but that's your first victory as a human being of I fought for life and I won. Yeah. I made it through life. And so the spiritual side of it is, are we taking away people's drive because we're now taking away that first gift of that journey? Or are we prolonging that first success rate that people find?
Well, and I also wonder how because women are starting to have more control of the when they want to have children. Right. And a lot of that is happening later in life, later than it's ever happened in history. So I wonder if the cesarean is a byproduct of women who and I don't know shit about shit, so this is just me saying stuff.
Also same. I wanted to say that too.
So
cesarean, several degrees. Not in this.
Natural birth, great. Choosing to have cesarean, great. If it's gonna save your life, totally. Great. 100%. All the choices are great. But I wonder if why people are starting, because not everyone who births is a woman either. So anyone who is birthing, I wonder if it has to do with how much later we're having children, or because I know fertility and IVF, it's hard, if you're doing it later in life, it is more difficult to conceive, your body, there's all kinds of different reasons.
And the way your joints start to open up or not.
And also just the health and well-being of our bodies, living in a society that really doesn't really care about women's bodies. Right. So I wonder if that is a contributing factor as much, because I feel like the conversation can quickly turn to people want to have cesareans because they want to keep their bodies, and then blah, blah, blah. And it's not about that. Right, it's about what's safest for mom and child, or parent and child. Right. So that's that's an interesting.
Well, even with that point too that you're making, we're not creating an opportunity for maybe people to have children early on in their lives, because we've driven this into people's brains about, you got to find a career now. Right. You're out of college now, get a career, get something structured.
Well, I mean,
build a platform, and then then have kids.
Also,
and blah, blah, blah.
It ain't cheap to have kids. So having a kid at 21 and having millennials now being I know children are expensive, so I'm going to wait until I can afford to have children, so I'm going to have them later in life.
A couple of my coworkers, and I'm 39, that were older than me, and these people I worked with 20 years ago, one of them had, I think, both of her kids over 40, but both of them had kids at 40 or 41.
It's way more common now.
Yeah, I mean, and it's funny. I mean, I remember as a kid, my parents are older now, but I used to get pissed off because they were always the old motherfuckers at the PTA meeting.
Right.
Now it seems like that's the trend.
Yeah.
My parents were trendsetters, as it were. It's being in their mid to late 30s.
Yeah. And the people that were having babies at 20 weren't really choosing to have babies. We didn't have the birth control. We didn't have the knowledge. Women didn't have the choice.
The rhythm method.
It was you were passed from your family to your new husband, and then you're expected to have a baby and no career. So it wasn't even like they had a choice to have him that young. So a lot goes into those factors of
Like my dad was my age now when he had me, which would be that being the second of two kids.
Yeah. By the time my mom was my age, I think I was in a freshman in high school.
Fucking A.
36. Wow. I think she had me at 20. I think she had me at 24. Hold on.
Yeah.
So I was in middle school.
I had
12 or 13. I'd have a 12 or 13-year-old right now.
It's like
I
by no means of saying I want to have a kid, but it's like I could maybe fathom, especially now that I don't fucking drink, like being able to do that.
Yeah.
Whereas holy shit, 29, no fucking way.
Yeah.
No fucking way.
And I know 34,
no way.
Talking to my mom, my mom and I don't have the greatest relationship.
Ted
Al. But I hear regret in her voice when she when she talks to my sister and I about how great our lives are now, and it's more of really laying on thick how lucky we're oh my gosh, you have this and you have that, and I don't hear it as I'm lucky. I hear it as I didn't have this. You are so lucky that you have this.
Yeah, and you have a credenza.
It is a FOMO energy that I get from that. She did not get a chance to live her life. She went straight from her parents' house to getting married to my dad to having 2 children back to back.
Yeah.
And then now she's in her 60s and, it's just well, fuck. So, and I feel like that's a lot of a generation that went through that.
You get excited about hiking poles.
Those kids that have parents like that are fuck that. I'm going to travel. I'm going to start my own business. I'm going to work. I'm going to whatever.
Yeah. It's tough. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But kids do funny shit, and that's one of my favorite things to watch. Is kids doing funny shit. They're my favorite things
to watch on TikTok.
They're
hilarious. They're so funny.
So the other day I was actually watching. I saw a bear get smacked in the nuts.
I saw that one.
I laughed. I cried laughing. I was laughing so hard at
bear?
that. Yeah, it was eating something up top, and a strap fell with some weight on it, and literally spread eagle hit him in the nuts, and he doubled over this big ass black.
He reacted exactly how you would think he reacted.
Oh fuck!
And I think that's why I found it so funny because I could see myself in that position, being that bear, and I'm that's just funny to me.
And just that one little kid, Corn, that sweet corn kid, just the joy in his heart about corn. They're so pure.
There's
no filter.
Similar thing, but the guy is probably in his early 20s. He's a train enthusiast. He's some British
Yes,
kid.
I love that guy.
He's just
train.
He's I woke up at 4:30 in the morning to see this. It's a very rare train that's coming through. It had the most sweet sounding whistle.
Bless his soul.
Oh man, that's great that he found something that made him that happy.
There was a little baby getting a vaccine, and I swear, he was not old enough to even speak, but his mom was recording him, and he was just sitting there looking at her glaring at her, and mom was like, "Why are you looking at me like that?" And all of a sudden he goes like that, shifts his weight to be who do you think you're talking to like that? And then the nurse starts laughing and he whips his head at her and just starts glaring at her. But it was just the embodiment of I knew exactly what he was saying with his body without saying anything. And it was just the cutest thing ever.
Oh my God. I did a sound bath at a church a couple months ago in Monroe. And I was setting up on the altar and shit. I think I might have mentioned this a while back, but I had to put my stuff somewhere, right? In my bags, all that shit. And so I asked one of the church ladies, I'm like, hey, church lady. Remember church lady?
Yeah. I just watched Dana Carvey. I just watched Dana Carvey last night.
So good.
Clean slate.
That's a good one, yeah. But I watched, I asked her, where can I put this stuff? And she's like, come on back here. Went into an office. She's like, open this closet, this nonchalant closet in this random, cubicle type office, but in a church. And she just opens these closet doors. She's like, here, just throw it in there. And I'm like looking at it. It's like, literally, she opened the doors and was like, oh, all the like gold ornate crosses and like all the biblical fucking like decorations and the sashes that all the priests wear. Like all the shit was in this fucking closet. And she was like, no, just throw it in there. Yeah. I'm like,
right next to the Holy Grail. Just throw it in there.
Funny as hell. Like, nobody's going to find this funny but me.
I'm so glad I'm not a shitty
Could
person.
It be Satan?
I can steal all this stuff. So actually, my dad actually one time got busted. Didn't get busted, but almost got caught because him and his friend were driving through town, staying in a hotel, and they stole a bunch of the wise men and baby Jesus from the nativity scene and brought it up to their hotel room and were like drinking with like the fucking nativity scene. And the cops got called on them and shit. But I guess I'm bringing that up is like you could just have the most pimp ass shit. Like you just do the podcast in like just some gold Pope robe right now. Like, where'd you get that? Oh, doing this sound bath. Shouldn't have taken it.
Oh yeah.
But
it was just calling to me.
It's like it's like a crisp starter jacket. You just gotta put it on, and I just couldn't take it off.
Yeah, starter jackets.
Yeah, when like two things marry that shouldn't marry in life, like you in a church in a sound bath, and then be like that's the stuff is the authentic humor in life. You know what I mean? Like that's
yes. Yeah. I think it's put there for us to find the humor in life.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, don't take yourself so seriously. Look at how funny this can be. It's like
one of those hats. One of those fucking
hats. Dude, I would love that. I watched actually. Yeah. You know who Duncan Trussell is?
No.
He's a comedian, actor, but he has a but he has a podcast called the Duncan Trussell Family Hour. But he's like psychonaut, does a bunch of mushrooms and like DMT and stuff. But he's awesome. I love the way he talks and thinks. But he did a whole episode on, I think it was Joe Rogan, dressed as the Pope, like the whole Pope hat and like the Pope like
in character though, or just dressed?
No, just dressed as the Pope.
Kristen Wiig did something like that on Jimmy Fallon, I want to say, where she went on multiple interviews as other people, and then so like she went on as Daenerys Targaryen and had like the whole outfit, but she was being interviewed as Kristen Wiig being Daenerys Targaryen, and I think she also did one as Amelia Earhart or something like that. Like God. Just full commitment. And but it was also like in a very Kristen Wiig way, so she was like answering in her normal voice and just like answering real life questions as Daenerys Targaryen. And it was the best thing I've ever seen in my life.
I don't think I've seen that.
Yeah, it's a good one. Yeah, you have to look it up.
God damn.
Amelia Earhart.
One of my favorite things that's happened to me recently, I can't remember. There's so many stories that I'm sure I've told 3 times on this podcast. So here goes another one. So if you heard it before, you're welcome. But I was walking the dogs in my neighborhood, and there was this guy that was singing a show tune. Oh, he was singing Hairspray. Okay, top of his lungs in Capitol Hill neighborhood, right? And it was a beautiful sunny day. I was in a great mood. I had the dogs out. Like, everything was going great. And I hear this guy is like, you can't stop the beat ever since... Like, and I was just... And I love that song from Hairspray. So he's singing a fucking show tune. And so I was like, when he comes by, I'm gonna join him in song. And so he rides right by me. And he goes, you can't stop... And I go, ever since the whole world began, which is like the next line. And he looked at me like I was fucking insane. And I was like... You are the one bringing this joy to my goddamn neighborhood.
Yeah, not apparently.
And then looking at me like I'm an asshole for sharing in your joy. Fuck you, bro. You can't bring a show tune to gay Capitol Hill.
God, I fucking so bummed out that I just wasn't, not that I ever have, just live tweeting that so I could have seen that.
Like, his face
I am
dropped.
the main character is the subreddit of that.
Yes. Like, he had no, like, it was like he had not been singing show tunes at the top of his lungs. Like, God. It was just came out of nowhere. He just looked at me like, who the fuck are you? And it's like, who the fuck are you, bro?
That's
Get the fuck
awesome.
out of here.
That's so, I would fucking, so much crazier shit's happened to
But
Capitol
I was
Hill,
so excited to share a joy moment with this person. Like, I was anticipating it. Like, I was preparing for magic. And the fact that I got was basically a fuck you glare was like, oh, that was even better. That was even better. Like, that was an even better moment we shared.
You, like, fucked his shit up.
Yes. Oh, my God.
Oh, shit. You gotta love that. Don't steal somebody's joy. But you can't, but it's like you're inspired by people's joy.
Yes. And I was inspired to join But apparently my intuition
That's a
was
Johnny Travi movie.
Oh, he's probably, you know what? He was probably a platinum star just being like, get the fuck out of here. All right? Get out of here. I don't need your fucking joy.
Yeah.
I had my range dialed in.
That's it. He was like, you completely ruined the harmony. That's probably what it was, where he was like, don't you fucking dare with that voice. Don't you be ruining my James Marsden.
Yeah. James Marsden.
Oh, fucking hell. Yeah, I see random comedy all the time in the yoga studios. You know, especially like a lot of the work I do, like the public sound baths, people are sleeping. You know, they fall asleep.
Oh, you gotta get so many farts.
Random body noises happen. Random body noises happen a lot. Yep, definitely.
Those are called farts, not random body
Respectfully.
noises.
Respectfully, random body noises.
Well, you can, okay, to be fair, you're on a rubber yoga mat, and so like just movement in general kind of creates that sound. So sometimes you don't really know. You know.
I'll give you that.
But it is. There is always like some kind of like something I find joy in when I walk around during the sound baths when people are like out in their zone, their zen place. Because there's times where like I'll come around and do instruments around people's heads, and just to see people in their states, like maybe it's not like funny, but there's so much joy that I find in that.
Yeah,
you know, and it's so cool to like.
Because they're in a vulnerable moment.
Just be a fly on the wall. Yeah. You know? And it's like, by no means am I gawking at people, but at the same time, it's just like, you're over and you want, I'm checking more or less vitals, you know?
Right.
No,
but I know what you mean, because people watching and being a fly is my favorite thing ever. And I recently, really since the pandemic, it's real, like I was already kind of an introvert, but the pandemic has really kind of put me on a cycle where I really have to find my extrovert when I'm out.
Oh, yeah.
And I said to Mandy the other night, I was like, I wish I could just exist in life where I could just be an observer, so I could like sit down with a group of friends and I don't have to talk, but I can watch them talk. And then I started talking more about that, and I was like, oh, I just want to watch TV in real life. I want to be in TV. Oh, God, I just want to be on reality. Like, I just want to watch a reality show in real life. That's what I want. And I was like, oh, no, something needs to change.
You know, I can tell you the downside.
I need more work than I thought.
I can tell you when the downside of when people watching goes wrong. This is like 20 fucking years ago. I was working at Starbucks, and this guy was walking by, and I thought it was Griff from Married with Children.
Oh, yeah? Okay, yeah.
You remember Griff?
I do remember Griff, yeah, most definitely.
I was like, fuck, is that Griff from Married with Children? So the guy just, like, literally stops his truck. He's like, what? And I'm just like, oh, I'm sorry, sir. I thought you were somebody, Jake. Thought you looked like somebody I knew. He's like, yeah, well, you look like Carrot Top. And I'm just like, all right.
Cool.
We're fucking doing that. But, like,
that was not my intention, but we're going there now.
Like, I mean, if we're going to fucking do that, you're going to kind of look more like my guy than I look like your guy.
Well, my favorite thing is like being confidently waving at someone you know is someone you think it is.
Oh yeah.
There was a lady on TikTok who she like came up behind somebody at a grocery store and bear hugged them from behind, thinking it was like her best friend, and it was like a little old woman, and the woman got so scared she ended up peeing her pants. But she was also laughing about it, like they both were laughing about it. But like she recorded in her car and she like couldn't even take a deep breath. She was just like, well, she's like, can I get you anything? Can I pay for your groceries? And the little old lady was like, well, I do need some new drawers. But it was just like shit like that is like shit you can't even write. It's good. Sometimes existence is good.
Yes, totally. Oh my God, that's
and even when
great.
it's bad, it's good.
Yeah.
Still don't.
Working at a nightclub for almost 10 years was some of the best like situational comedy I could ever like just imagine. There was these two guys, and this was still when I was at bartending still. Yeah, exactly, 100%.
And the crash and the burn.
There were the two, this is when I used to bar back. So let's say like 2003, 2002, you know. And okay, so I'll just go on record by saying when I was bartending, craft bartending was not really a thing, right? The best we had was like slapping the mint, right? Most of the bartending that I did was like
there was no mixologist.
No, it was like single shot well drinks, or people wanted the colorful drinks like Scooby snacks or lemon drops and
Scooby snacks or this
shit like that, right? You know, so like yes, we were speed bar, like we would do like $6,000 in a night.
Well, Washington apple shot,
Delicious. But so I was sitting there, I was bar backing one night, right when we were starting to get busy, and there were these two dudes hanging out right at the well, right where the server or the guest well was, people coming up, and these two dudes would sit there, and every woman that walked up, they would just be like, wait for them to order, like, I get a couple margaritas, and one of the guys would be like, oh, margaritas, huh? salty.
Bro, stop.
And then she would just like pay for the drinks, kind of look at him sideways, walk away, and I'm just sitting there doing dishes like,
no,
this
shit.
is. And then next one come up, lemon drops, huh? Ooh, yeah, I love that lemon. Oh yeah, and like a little lip lick, you know. And then another like walk away. I'm like, and then finally it's like, I didn't say it. One of my other bartenders was like, you really honestly think this is gonna work? Like this is. I mean, don't get me wrong. We're finding a lot of amusement here, but like
this was more for us than it is for you. So please keep it up.
But when I used to manage our we had a balcony that overlooked the dance floor, and watching the dance floor on a packed like Saturday night was the most amusing thing that I ever seen. Just watching every single dancing. Type of like stereotypical club night situation play out with like people getting shot down, people like all the different types of dance moves that were happening, you know, like
the dance fucking.
Oh yeah, 100%. You know, like the awkward trying to dance through the mob of people trying to dance. You know, yes. It was so fucking funny, man. I had so much fun.
Yeah, you get to see like every trope.
Oh yeah, it was great. You know, and we were just like littered with bouncers, and yes, we had our issues, but you know, it was usually squashed pretty quick. But
the glass of poop.
The glass of poop was not. Actually, it's funny now. Okay.
Yeah. See, those are the other situational comedies that are funny 8 years later. But
you
not
can look
in the
back
moment
and you can find amusement. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just for the listeners' sake, so I was closing Jillian's one night, and and it was like, you know, all the servers had left, you know, and I did the glance around walk through, like, oh yeah, you guys are fine, right? And so I'd say like we closed at 2. I'd say maybe it's like 3, and so like guests had been gone since 1:30. So I still don't really know how all this went down. But so I'm doing my final walkthrough and just like turning off lights and shit. And I looked down and I saw something shiny, and by one of the tables there was a glass. And I'm like, fucking glass. And I pick it up, and immediately I'm like, why is this glass warm and brown? And I'm like, oh my God, I just picked up a glass of poop. And like I can't drop it because then I'd pick up broken glass of poop.
Glassy poop.
Right? So I'm like, oh, fucking hell. So I had to like hold on to it and like walk to the bathroom, and I'm trying to keep my cool, you know, but in my head I'm like, why is it warm?
Execute that?
Like, why is it warm? Why is it still warm?
Okay.
Because people have been gone for a while.
And they say, was it a coworker? Could it have been a coworker?
It could have been. Somebody just dropped a deuce in a cup and said, hey, fuck off, Adam.
First of all,
there you go.
Here's the thing. Dropping a deuce outside the toilet, you have to get positioning. For a cup, the diameter, you got to get the aim.
Yes.
There's so much that goes into it.
So do you think someone took a shit? Wow, this is...
How did they execute it?
Well, no, took a shit in the cup in the bathroom.
You know, I didn't think about that. I didn't think about where the poop happened. I'm still just pondering on why there was poop.
And it's not like it's a campsite. Like, you have toilet. Like, what...
And I don't think
urgent. Like, there's just, I have so many questions on how it was executed.
All right, and I'm not, you know, I'll go by record by saying I'm not the nicest guy, but I don't think I've offended somebody enough to where they needed to poop in the glass. And
also, was there anyone else?
You also worked that shift at Red Hook that Tuesday morning.
Oh, God.
The guy rubbed shit up. That was also your shift. That was also your shift.
Actually, you know what? When I worked at Boston Market, the first job I had. And it was great. I liked that job. So, my manager said, hey, Adam, go clean the bathroom. She's like, yeah, no problem. So I got my mop and all the stuff, and I went to clean the bathrooms, cleaned the girls' bathroom first, went to the boys' bathroom, opened the door, and I'm like, oh, Jesus. And I'm 16, 15,
it's just like,
and I walk back out, and I'm like, hey, Mike,
Mike,
I can't clean that bathroom. He's like, what's wrong with it? I'm like, I just don't think I don't think I'm equipped. There's things in there that I've never seen. And he's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, just come with me, Mike. And so Mike and I went to the bathroom and opened the door, and he's like, I've got this. Bring me some gloves. And I'm like, you're a strong man, right?
Call the manager over at Shoney's.
It was like on the toilet, on the handles. It's like somebody like pooped in their hand and just like went to town, like finger paint style.
Why?
It wasn't aggressive like the one at Red Hook. Somebody had put not
that
all
shift.
that, as well as poop on the wall. They also wrote an FU in
I remember that. And I also remember like you smelt it before you even got into the restaurant. Like it was so bad.
So the two funniest moments that came from that though were when after we were all looking around, I think it was either you or the busser, and we looked out and it was like, oh look, and there was a turd on the ground. I was like, oh look, there's the medium.
No,
which was great.
Fuck.
And then I think it was pretty sure it was Robin who donned the culprit, the poop casso of Red Hook.
Yes.
That's so fucking funny. Boston market guy's like, oh, okay, this is like your second week there.
I mean,
it's
technically Boston Market's fault for serving that cream spinach, man. That's on BM.
Yeah. Hey,
BM.
Just a complaint. It's not a complaint. Just letting you know there's literal feces all over the wall. I'm
not gonna. This won't go any further, Shawnees. This will not go any further than the two of us.
My
woman to woman. I'm just letting you know.
Yeah.
Like I'm not upset. I resonate with you.
Yeah, I've
Growing up in my family though, my uncles and my dad, we all like have stomach issues. So like poop humor is so prevalent in my family.
Right, yeah.
So like there are some people that get physical, like, and don't get me wrong, like Human Centipede, 2 Girls, 1 Cup, that will make me physically ill.
Right,
but when it comes to someone accidentally shitting their pants, that is a story I will listen to 8 times and laugh every time.
Robin's story is my favorite.
And these things happen to
also,
the best of us.
When we put Georgie down, we had Jeff for 4 days, and then we had to put Georgie down. He was in the room when she passed away. Same doctor came over. We did it at home. And he was being so sweet and so kind and wanted to come up to us. And then Georgie took her last breath. Doctor said her heart stopped beating. He immediately took a shit next to her dead body. Immediately, the hottest, steamiest pile of shit came out of this dog. And we laughed. And it was just like, this is perfect. This would
Did she just like claim her throat or something?
Literally, like she was still warmer than the shit that just took. Like the dog literally just took her last breath, and Jeff was just like, "Well, I just wanted to wait till y'all had your moment, but I needed to take a shit."
The dog's like last breath, last little trace of breath.
And it wasn't like in another room. It was, we thought he was coming in to like smell her to say goodbye, and he turns around and it is right next to her head, right next to her fucking dead body. And I was just like, this is my dog. This is my new dog. I love him so much.
Did?
Yes.
That's the funniest.
That was the 4th day we had him.
Needs to be
shit
somewhere.
next to my dead dog's body.
Could you remake All Dogs Go to Heaven and put that scene in there,
absolutely.
please?
So good.
Grand Hoagie's birthday.
Oh, Jeff's coming to say goodbye.
Yes.
No, Jeff takes his shit.
He just like, he basically he would just crop dust a dead body, basically.
Oh my god.
Oh god, yeah. He made me laugh so hard.
Yeah, and like a lot of people would be offended by that.
Yes,
but
or upset that the moment's been ruined, or like it desecrated the piece of the room, and all of us laughed. The vet tech, the vet, the man, I was crying laughing.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
And that, there needs to be stuff like that to remind us that yes, there is death, there is sorrow, there's a sadness, whatever.
Yeah,
but there's also like right here and now can be another funny moment.
Yes, exactly.
God damn, that is fucking classic shit.
Moments later.
Fucking hell.
Jeff was an OG, man.
When my brother worked at Best Buy, this might also
If you were the Best Buy. Oh god. It's gonna be so good.
It's not that good. It's not that good. It's not that good. It's really not. Like, it's not that good. I just think the segue is funny because this is where we're going with all this. He worked there and it was a very rewarding experience. No, so I guess the thing was like some kid like shoplifted like an Xbox controller, took it to the bathroom, and then took a shit all over the package.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
He took the controller though and shit in the box?
Yeah, like that plastic like blister pack thing. Some kid took it in the bathroom. I threw the controller in the book bag and then shit on the package.
Oh my god. And you know he was like 13 and just being like, oh, this is going to be good.
I'm going to get to the transfer city.
I'm going to be a fucking legend at this place. They're going to talk about me forever.
Oh my God.
Jesus
I feel like that's the only reason people do that. Like, where it's just like they go home and they're just laughing all the way home, just being like, I'm going to be a legend at Best Buy.
Fucking hell.
It's so good.
I used to work at Target back in the day. Yeah, dude. I used to unload the trucks. So actually, okay. So at one point in time,
worked at Target.
Yeah, at one point in time, all three of us worked at Target. My brothers, all three of my brothers worked at Target. So I was, Aaron was front. Aaron was like, hey, welcome to Target.
Yeah.
Can I help you with something? Can I help you find something?
Yeah, fucking Aaron walking around like,
right, totally.
I see you.
Yeah, right. And I worked in the back room, and I think Andy worked in the back too for a little bit. But so we were taking a break because we worked like not overnight. I think we get out of there like at midnight or something. But it was like 8 o'clock. We just finished unloading one of the trucks, and we were out front smoking cigarettes and just taking a break. And,
what would you smoke back then?
Camel Special Lights.
Ooh.
Camel Special Lights.
Yeah, that was my pack. That was a gold pack. I don't know.
Gold pack. I don't know.
But so there's like maybe 6 of us out there, and the guy that ran the shift back there was one of my brother's friends from high school, Melvin. And so like it was all just like fucking lackadaisical shit.
Yeah,
right?
it's a good.
And so we're just like kicking it out there, and we see this dude like all of a sudden like the doors open up, and this fucking dude just bolts out, running with the big fucking box, and it was like there was a TV, and I was like, and we all just looked at him like, what? Wonder what's gonna happen next. None of us moved.
I wonder who's gonna be responsible for that.
And so then we're sitting there, and then all of a sudden this dude runs out like at least 3 or 4 minutes later. The guy had like a good head start. Security guard runs out. He's like, "Did you see where the guy went?" And we're like, "What guy?" The guy carrying the box. We're like, "Oh yeah,
yeah."
We're that way.
That guy.
Like, why did you guys chase him? Like, dude, we unload trucks. We're not fucking security, man.
Get paid for that shit.
And the guy, the security guard runs off, and Melvin, he looks at us and he's like, fucking 2.5s. Because, 5 O's. So we call security cops 2.5s, like half of that.
Nice.
And it was just fucking hilarious, man. And then we got questioned by security why we didn't fucking chase him and blah, blah, blah.
Sure.
Get fucked.
Yeah.
We're Target employees, we're not fucking security
He's
guards.
not stealing my TV.
But, so, there was I think you might have been there, but when we were working at Red Hook, patio was open. We're cracking. It's like a weekday, but it was like busy as shit. And there was a group. There was a large group at the right by where the servers would ring up all those like fucking portable micros that we had, right where the bar window was.
Yeah.
And all like I'm sitting back there. We're just kind of getting through the rush. Got all the food out and shit. And all of a sudden, this dude like I hear a chair fall back, and I look over, and this dude's shaking on the ground. And I'm like, oh my fucking God, this guy's having a seizure. And so I walk over and I'm like, hey, can I help this guy? And everybody at the table is just sitting there like conversating.
Yeah, he's fucking cool.
Nothing happened. There's a guy sitting next to him looking at his watch and looking at him. And I'm like, just a split second to me, I'm like, what kind of bullshit is this? Everybody's still talking. This dude's looking at his watch like, when's Jack going to be done with this fucking seizure? Like, all right, come on, man.
About 90 seconds per seizure. It'll be over in a second.
Well, that's what it was. And I walked over and I'm like, hey, what's going on? Can I help? Like, nobody's moving. They're like, no, it's fine. Like, it just happens. It takes like usually 30 seconds. If it's more than that, then we have to do something. But he wants us just to leave him alone until this happens. And I'm like,
can you at least check his head for falling back on the chair? Something? Can I get him some napkins as a pillow?
I think Mark Moline was there. But once, the guy got, he was fine. He got back up and everything. And I just I had to go stand aside because there was something about that made me laugh so fucking hard.
Just like
this whole,
Bill.
It was like a bad SNL sketch or something. Everybody's just chilling, kicking it, looking at their watch. I'm like, fucking hell, all right.
Yeah, like when things are just
life.
Overly absurd. Yeah. That's like all you can do.
Well, I remember our friend Hannah had a table. He was actually an old regular of mine from an old job who had a seizure at the table and shit. And then Cram was handing her food. He's like, "Yeah, here's your seizure salad." I was just like, "Oh my God, you send a lot out there, but you occasionally just smash it so far out of the park."
Seizure salad.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Did the table receive it well?
Yeah.
God, I hope so.
Oh, God.
Fucking hell, man.
I know. I'm trying to rack my brain because I know I have work stories of just customers being like.
It's only going to happen more now that you're back in the settle.
I know. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
they all meld together.
It really does.
Yeah.
Especially hospitality work.
Do you have like any like mortifying stories from your childhood that now is like hilarious, but at the time for 10 years you couldn't talk about it?
Man, I'd probably say my entire childhood.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
So actually, it was funny back at the observational humor about laughing about other things, and this didn't happen to me, but I was there. So we were actually staying at Mazama, back where I didn't want to drive 4 hours on Wednesday. I was staying at some like ranch thing where it's like, you know, like basically it was like a restaurant, but you're staying in like a fucking like a barn, like it's converted. So
sure.
like,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
so like the bathroom is literally like a half bath, like off the hallway, just like toilet, sink.
Yeah.
You know, whatever. So Scott like goes to the bathroom and comes back, and he's just like, all right, you guys not even gonna believe this. So there's like this like 6-year-old kid or whatever, I guess, has to use the bathroom. Like goes up to the host and he's like, excuse me, where's the bathroom? Like, oh, it's right there. Like, thank you so much. You know, walks down the hall, leaves the door wide open, pulls his pants all the way down to his feet, then pulls the seat down to piss in.
Oh my god.
I fucking love that.
The pull the seat down to still be standing is a power move.
That is a power move.
I've never fucking
was it
done
while the stream was going?
I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll call
That's a lot of
Scott.
coordination.
Yeah,
Yeah, that is,
at work.
If that happened while the stream was going, that might be the next Dalai Lama.
Yeah.
He's already starting to incarnate.
Power move.
Fucking hell.
Power move.
Oh my god.
Oh, I have like when I used to do corporate gigs for improv, which are the most soul sucking things you can ever imagine, because it's
Team
just
building.
it's just everyone who like is mandatory.
Oh, like, so you were
I've been a part
like
of
a
those.
Microsoft party, because a Microsoft party is mandatory.
Yeah.
So
like
you would have to like corral us to do skits
Yeah.
and shit.
I've been on the receiving part of that.
oh yeah,
Oh.
and
We did
that at
like
Doula
Amazon, Microsoft, like, so it's people that are not in the, first of all, not in the mood for a comedy show, usually aren't our key demographic anyway, and they're being forced to be there. So like, it's your perfect audience as a comedian, really. It's just like a bunch of hostages and that have maybe like a free sandwich or whatever. And one of them I had to do, I was with Mandy and a couple other people, and they had this whole thing where one of the managers came out, and I guess one of the employees had died recently.
Yeah.
And so they were talking about what a great man, and what he brought to the company, and he was like, all right, so now we have Jet City Improv. And I was just like, what are you doing to us?
This
We're
is
already
fucking-
fighting a losing battle.
Fucking cold
You
open.
bring us in
Yeah.
the memorial? Like, oh my
Johnny
God.
Carson had Jerry Seinfeld warm up the crowd.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
You had fucking Bob's Memorial.
There have been
Oh
so
my
many
God.
shows like that where it was
So
just like,
fucking
why
funny.
are we here?
That's
This is horrible.
really
Or
fucking
people, my favorite one
For a
is
bunch of
that.
those small Fritos and like some stale Nutri-Grain bars.
Oh yeah, and there were a couple of ones that I used
bags.
to do where
Fucking 1 ounce bags. Fucking shit. It's like 4 chips.
well, it's an insult.
fucking bullshit. It's
those.
all air.
It's
all
like the
fucking air.
Uber waters. You know,
Oh, yeah.
they're like, it's like, that's a sip.
Yeah, if you're
Oh,
lucky.
the little fuckers.
Yeah.
I don't know how it happened, Doc. It just ended up my ass. No idea.
Yeah, God, I
gardening
fucking
naked.
hate corporate shows. I
Yeah,
hated them.
I could
I
imagine.
didn't know you
Oh.
were doing corporate shows.
Well, I wasn't, but at the time when I was doing improv, because they're good money, so you
Yeah,
paid
yeah,
like
that's why you
$200 a
kiss the
person,
fucking
yeah,
ring,
so
yeah.
for
Yeah.
like an hour and a half or whatever. But there were also parties that, because people would hire like Unexpected Productions, our theater, like for like birthday parties, but they would hire us as like fake caterers, and so we would have to go around and be like, we aren't improvisers and kind of like ruffle feathers and say inappropriate things, but no one knows that we're like paid actors.
God,
and then
that's
the guy
hilarious.
at the very end was like, shocking, you're all in, like they're all in on it, and then no one reacts. Like,
Yeah, it's like
like they're
that
just
server
like,
called you the C word.
Cool.
Is doing improv.
I'm gonna take my check and I'm gonna go. Like, there's just so many cringe
I
worthy.
just thought the server was shitty.
And it's never the thing, but it's always the drive home where I laugh, where I'm like, oh, this is my life. Like, I'm getting paid to just humiliate myself for pennies. Just pennies.
God. I've done a few corporate sound baths.
Oh yeah.
And for the most part, everybody and it's on the very, very different than your experience because most people are like laying down. They're excited to try something different or new, something they've heard of but never had a chance to try.
Yeah.
But you also get people that will lay down and then within like 5 minutes will sit up and just like stare at you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is all I'm doing.
Yes.
This is all. I don't have like some Jimi Hendrix type like sound bowl solo I'm about to break out in or anything. This is what I got. Here, hold on. there's the chimes, But
this guy's just like, I can clock out in 3 hours. My fucking God.
Just sitting there like this.
But
the one thing I have found in those situations, when it first happened to me, I was taken off guard, but I quickly, was like, okay, I rationalized it pretty quick. But one thing I will not do, and not only in corporate settings, but it also depending on the audience, is so most of my sound baths I chant in.
Yeah.
And whether it's like a Sanskrit chant or a Nepalese chant, and
that's a one-way ticket.
It triggers people. And it's like okay, we're already trying something different, and some people again are like, if in these corporate settings, it's not their free will. It's like I'll do it, but 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 when I layer that chant in there, that's what it makes it feel kind of silly for people that aren't wanting that experience. So it gives them an outlet to laugh, which at first I was like, fuck you.
Yeah.
But I thought a lot about it. And it's like when we experience something
Sanskrit
different
for fuck
and
you?
new,
You could just start chanting that.
But I get it. It's something different. People experience different things.
And if you're not
and
committed
and
signed up for it, like when people are going to your classes and that happens, you're like, I'm expecting this.
Right. Yeah. So but having that. That situational humor for them.
Yes.
Like all of a sudden they're just like, okay, what is this? Like, that was a weird alien noise. Oh God, he's singing now.
Well, the best part of this is that you're giving them the fucking perfect caricature. This guy, fully tatted, head to fucking toe, man bun,
sound bowl the size of your head. I'm not lying, Jake.
He comes over, he's telling me about this crystal, that crystal. I'm just like, how do I get in my F-150 and back to Lake Stevens?
Yes, I do fit a stereotype.
Like sometimes we are the observer and sometimes we are the observee. Exactly. Like we will be in part of discussions for the rest of people's lives. That's what I think about.
Yep, totally. Yeah, sometimes in life we're the Samwise character.
Yeah.
Sometimes we're just like the random, the random troglodyte that just came by.
Yeah.
It's like everybody has their part.
Get off the road.
All right. Anything else on random humor?
Nah, man.
Nah, it's good.
All right. See you next time.